Welcome to the Success Pick and Mix podcast. I'm your host, Nicky Raby, a professional pick and mixer. I'm a personal brand coach, a speaker, an actor, a creator, and a podcaster. I'm on a mission to help you find and create your version of success. Your pick and mix of life and business on your terms. A blend that complements your personality, your goals, and your circumstances. Since 2018, I've been sharing interviews and mini episodes to help you unlock your next step, to make it real and make it happen. Round here, we dream big. We go for the ideal version. We talk about money and make moves our future selves would be proud of. This podcast is free and available for you whenever you need it. So do rate, review, and subscribe for new episodes. If you want to go deeper with my support, check out my freebies house and unlock the rooms you choose. nickyraby.com/freebies house. I also have workshops, programs, and one-on-one bespoke offerings. For prices and availability, go to nickyraby.com. Thank you, as always, for spending some time with me and my guests. Now, on to today's episode. In today's episode, I talked to my friend and actress Indra O, who has been in the industry for many years and worked across television, film and theatre, and she is amazing at what she does. It's a personal one for me today. I met Indra in my second job after leaving drama school, and I only now really know what a key person she was in my career. And we talk about this a little bit in the episode. Indra at the time had 2 small children, but was fully present in her career, was still able to be creative. And for some reason, probably because people told me, that there was this expectation as a woman that you had to choose to be a creative or to be able to have children. And to see at the age of 21 that Indra was doing that very effortlessly. I'm sure there was all kinds of chaos behind the scenes, you know, life is real and all that. But it was so fundamental for me to see at that point. And now, as a 36-year-old with a small son and being able to be creative, it's a wonderful thing. I hope you enjoy this episode. There's lots of laughs and lots of great stories that she has to share. Hi, Indra. How are you?
I'm good.
So, if people don't know you, start by saying what you do and what's your job title?
I'm an actress. Job title actress.
On the passport.
Yeah, exactly.
And how did it start for you?
Acting?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Well, it started a very long time ago. I've been doing this a lot of years now. My initial, my first kind of entry into the profession was when I was 11 and I did a children's TV series. So I suppose that was my first taste of it. Which I absolutely loved.
Did you miss school?
Yeah, because I missed school. I was going to say that, of course. And it was quite a big chunk of school because it was like a 6-part children's series. So we were doing 6 1 hours. It was for ITV, and it was set in Pimlico. So we were all London based, but it meant missing school, which is just incredible. And having fun on set, recreating these characters. So that was my first real taste of what it was like. And my mum quickly said, all right, that's enough. Now get back to school. Forget about it till, after your O-levels.
Keep you grounded.
Yeah.
You had your fun.
Yeah.
Back in school.
Back in school.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't think this is going to be your norm night. So my mum was she'll probably come up again in this comment, was a great leveller.
Yeah.
And so I went back into school. But what it meant is that I had discovered something. So I continued to do drama classes out of school on weekends and things like that. So I got the bug, I suppose, at about 11 years old. I took my mum's advice. I did school, did O-levels, and then decided, I'm going to go to drama school. Applied to Central School. Well, applied to RADA, Drama Centre, Central, maybe one other I can't remember now. Didn't get into RADA. got into Central. Very happy. Did Central, went there for 3 years.
And you're still mates with all those girls, aren't you?
I'm still mates with a lot of people from there. Yeah, really mates with very, very close friends. And a lot, we all kind of keep in contact with each other over Facebook and stuff. But yeah, made some really proper friends at Central. Had an amazing time there. And I think if anybody's ever thinks about whether to do drama school or not, I think it's a great thing to do because it's a place where you can fail, where you can experiment and you can fail in the comfort of a school, of a centre that's going to look after you. Yeah. But you can take great risks, which is something that gets much harder to do when you're in our real profession. So it was great for that, for discovering oneself. And in my final year drama school, 3 months before the end, in your final year, you'll do public shows and you invite agents in and casting people and all of that. And I got cast in a job, so I left school 3 months early and launched into the profession. So I was incredibly lucky. So I got an agent and I got a job before my course had even finished.
Me too. And you kind of go, ooh, okay, this is what I wanted.
This is what I wanted.
Oh God, it's terrifying.
It's terrifying, yeah. And my school didn't make it easy either. They were going, you're letting the school down. You really shouldn't do this. You're with a company already. Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
So they didn't make it easy making that choice either. So I really had to make the choice on my own and take that risk of leaving drama school and going into the real world. And I'm very pleased I did. And as I say, I got a fabulous agent. It was a great role and it launched my career. And then, funnily enough, actually, then I think the next play I did was actually, I got given a part by Stephen Daldry when he was running the Gate Theatre because he had been teaching us at Central. Right. He was just a struggling wannabe director. Oh, totally, wearing cords, all a bit of a mishmash, looking slightly out of place, teaching us at school, feeling a bit uncomfortable. I got on incredibly well with him. And then he then... When I left Central, he left and he went to run the Gate Theatre. I did my telly job and then came back and he gave me my first theatre job at the Gate. You know, no money, nothing. Stephen Daldry.
Packet of crisps and a sandwich. Thanks very much.
I'm happy. And that's how my career begun.
And did it continue with that momentum?
It did, actually. I was really fortunate. I kind of springboarded into it. And as I say, I did those 2 jobs very early. Then I very quickly got a job with Trevor Nunn at the Young Vic doing Timon of Athens. There are very few women in it and the parts are small, but it was David Suchet in the lead. And that was phenomenal. So suddenly I was working with the bigwigs, you know. I was there with Trevor Nunn, I was at the Young Vic, and it meant I could sit in rehearsals and watch David Suchet work and watch all these fantastic people and really kind of learn my trade. So yeah, it did. I was very, very lucky at the start of my career. And talented. Thank you, Nicky.
And then how did the America jump go? Did you ever live there? Were you back and forth?
The American thing happened to me because I can't work out the years we're talking, but at some point in the early stages of my acting career, I lost my mum. And my mum ran shops, amazing shops, local shops called Doodoo Boutique, one in Camden, one in Swiss Cottage. My mum suddenly died and I wasn't ready to give up her shop because it had been in my life all my life. I was kind of born into it, literally. So that was something for me to cling on to. And I said, I'm going to run it. Though she had said, don't do it, follow your acting career. I said, no, I'm going to run it. So I was doing these jobs and running this shop. And I remember being at the counter, serving people. Suddenly the phone went, you had, hello, Doodoo Boutiques. And it was my agent. And they were like, Indra, you've got to go to an audition now. in the middle of the day, no warning, nothing.
She's just coming.
Exactly. And now I'm trying to serve people, speaking to Adrian, my agent's like, you've got to get, and it was at the Groucho Club. You've got to get to the Groucho Club. You've got probably about an hour to get there. Neil Jordan wants to see you for this new film, Interview the Vampire.
Right.
It's starring Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt.
Who?
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, oh my God. So suddenly I'm in the shop. So I've got to get cover. I've got to get a girl in to come and cover me because I'm working, you know.
Dress as a vampire on the way.
And I've got to get a vampire. Well, she's not a vampire there, but I was told I had to look very sexy.
Right.
That I was going up for a lady of the night. So I had to get cover, get someone to come to the shop, rush home, put on a mini skirt or whatever I did, throw something together to make me look sexy, and get myself to the other side of town.
Right.
Into an audition that, you know, I had no preparation. I mean, I know things are bad today, but that was really crazy. Yeah. But there's a certain, I don't know, the adrenaline. I mean, there's a kind of thrill that goes with that. So I ran into town, and I'm young, I'm in my 20s, excited, obviously, running. There's Neil Jordan sitting in this great big sofa. Came and sat down with him. Initially, it was just a chat. They gave me a few lines to read, and that was it. And I was gone. I was like, oh my God, you know. That just happened. A Hollywood bloody movie, and I'm here in Groucho's chatting to the director.
Yeah.
So obviously I can't put that out of my mind. I'm then back to the shop, doing my day job, working, selling dresses. And then I think it was a week or so later, I then got a call back saying they want to see you again. You've got to get to Pinewood Studios. I was given a bit more time this time round, sent a script to look at, and that they would be filming me at Pinewood. So that was lovely. So I had time to prepare, choose what I want to wear, read the scripts, go to Pinewood, and they had a handheld camera, which again is very different to today. Neil Jordan was there. They had someone with a handheld camera, and they had a young actor who was pretending to be Tom Cruise. And they made us kind of act out these scenes, and they filmed us doing it. Well, I went for it. I didn't hold back. I thought the potential of Hollywood and Tom Cruise and, you know, it was just too much, you know. So I gave it my absolute all. And a week later, I got the part. So it was phenomenal. So that, I then made the film, obviously. And on the back of Interview the Vampire, that took me to Los Angeles. They invited me over there for the premiere, put me up in a beautiful hotel, did the whole premiere thing, went to a million parties, networked, schmoozed, a lot of schmoozing with some very wonderful people. I mean, that film was full of amazing people. Met a colossal amount of people. So that took me to LA. They were putting me up for a couple of weeks, and I extended my stay because suddenly I had all this interest. It was a huge film, and it was huge in America. And suddenly arriving there and seeing yourself on kind of billboards and on the front of magazines and all that, I thought, you know, oh my God. So I was like, well, let me stay as long as I possibly can. So I stayed probably 3 or 4 months that time, and got an agent, got a manager, and then, you know, and in a way I would have stayed longer, but I had the responsibility of my mum's shop back in London, and everything that goes with losing a parent, you know, selling the house, blah, blah, blah.
And on one hand, you're feeling so hyped and excited, but then underneath that, clearly there's the emotion and
yeah, exactly.
The life transition.
The life transition of losing a mum, and that's an extraordinary thing because you were kind of, I was taken to dizzy heights. I mean, literally, and I wasn't able just to pursue that, you know, and that's where it's very into the conflict of real life versus this kind of glamorous world of Hollywood, you know, and we all have that, and we're all faced with that. And, you know, and it was really serious. So I had to come back. I had huge responsibilities. It's a kind of regret I live with, but had I done it the other way around, I think the regret would have been greater.
Yeah.
So I think I honoured the right thing, as it were. my responsibilities, my home, my mum, all of that. I had to come back and do that. So I kind of left Hollywood. But what it meant is I'd set that up. Mm-hmm. I'd had a network of people. I had an agent. I met friends and all of that stuff. So I'd got my foot in the door.
Yes, and that's so important that no matter what happens, you're never starting from scratch. You're always building up. And I know so many people who listen to this, they go, I've just started this new career, or like, I was an actor and now I'm a writer. I feel like I'm entering in. It's like, no, you bring all that life experience and day to day and talent and all of that, skills, all that stuff to the table.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't go for nothing. And the real life all goes with it, you know, and especially as an actor. That feeds us. It feeds us as creatives. So none of it is wasted. So then I came back to London and obviously kept pursuing my career. I mean, it was a phenomenal break, and that opened me up into the kind of film industry. And it was after that I did several films. I did Othello with Lawrence Fishburne. I did The Fifth Element. I can't even remember, but I did a succession of really nice movies on the back of that. So it certainly opened that up. And then it meant that I kept on going back to LA, because then I had an agent. So I'd go over for auditions and meetings and all that sort of stuff. I've always found it very hard, giving up London and going, you know, full in. And I think that's a hard decision for us as actors to, you know, unless you're given a series or given something, just to go and play the game is quite a hard thing to do. Yeah. But I had opened that. And then years and years later, when I was married and had children, we went back to LA and we did a year when my kids were about, 7 and 9.
And how was that phase?
So that was very different and lovely, actually, because then I was with my husband. I had 2 kids, so you're going with a family unit, which is lovely. It's very, very comforting, rather than being there at 23 and being very much on my own, wandering around and not knowing the city and not knowing really quite how to deal with it. And it's quite frightening, and it's quite frightening as a 23-year-old and the world of producers and dodgy goings on and, you know, and parties and all that. It's quite a lot to take on. Yes. It really makes me admire those young actresses, especially, who make it work from a very young age and understand it, because I found it overwhelming. So to go back with my husband, with my kids, was
the monkeys who you are.
No, exactly. Yeah, and that's lovely, because it's really comforting and really, really grounding. So it was great going back, and we went for a year. So we rented out our house in London. We have friends in LA from before, and they had found us a lovely place. We found a beautiful school, so we kind of set up home. Again, and having a school was great, because that anchors you.
And you meet people, you're part of the routine.
Yeah.
Especially as actors, and I hear it so often. It's the in-between bits. It's the, should I have coffee or I've got nothing in my diary today. Yeah. Or I don't really know where my life is going. You're just hanging about waiting. For the phone.
Yeah. And that's where, you know, that's
out.
Yeah, and that's where actually having kids is no bad thing as an actor, and it's a funny thing when you get to that stage and you're making those decisions. And I remember I was always told, whatever you do, don't do it, will ruin your career. And then finally not listening to those people and going, well, I want to do it anyway, so I'm going to do it. And then actually going, well, it grounds me, and it gives me something that's greater and more important than the industry. And I think it's a hugely levelling thing to do, and actually the career doesn't forget you. You know, if you're still active and interested in what you do, it doesn't let you go, and it didn't let me go.
And you bring different things to the table.
And you bring different things to the table, of course you do.
Because you're not just bringing a needy actor who wants to work. You're bringing, life at home is good, so I'm here and I need to make it count, and how long have you got? And I remember, I don't know if I said this, but I remember when we were doing Living Under One Roof, and I was in that, it was like my second job out of drama school, and I was 21, and I think you had both boys at that stage.
I did.
But I was just thinking, oh, good, that is somebody who can do that. Because in my head, I thought, I would love to have kids, and it was very much in my plan. But for some reason, whatever is filtered down, it was like a decision, like you have the children or you have the career.
Yeah.
And And so watching you doing it, I was like, oh, there is somebody out there. Because I was thinking, even 3 years before, I'd never met an actor who had kids.
No.
Or at all.
Oh, really. At all.
I was just like a young kid in Lincolnshire thinking, I'd really like to make that my career. But I don't really know how to do it. I'm going to go to drama school, but I didn't know anybody who was doing it. And so when I saw you, I was like, oh, okay, you can do it, and making that juggle work. And it was really refreshing. And it was so nice when I went to an audition the other day where I could do that for somebody else, because this girl who was sort of 10 years younger, she was like, oh, but, well, it's kind of good that you can do that as well. Because I'd sort of written it off, and I said, no, please don't. So it was such a full circle.
Yeah, good. Well, it's really important then, isn't it? That we're there and doing it. And one does make it work, and it's a juggle, but, anybody who's got kids knows that juggle. But we make it work, and the industry makes it work.
Yeah.
And there are certain jobs you can't do, obviously. You can't go away as easily. I mean, what's been fortunate for me, because my husband is also in the industry, he's on the other side, so we're both freelance. So he goes off and does a job, and I'll be home with the kids, and then it's my turn to go and do the job and he'll have the kids. So we've always made that work very well. We've always shared the kids' responsibilities, and also it also means you get great long chunks with your kids when you're not working as an actor, which if you're working a 9 to 5 you don't get that. We get 3 or 4 months solid just with my kids day in and day out,
and then you're like, I really needed that.
No, I really need that. See ya.
Bye. Oh goodness, a long one. Amazing. We obviously love our children, but sometimes it's hard. It's hard. It's much easier to go out to work than to stay at home, I think.
I think, yes.
So how, I guess in those moments of when you're not working, how do you stay creative? Like, what do you have daily things that you do? How do you kind of keep your hand in, especially I guess when the boys were little, when you're like, because of time restraints, I guess you can't do all the things that you want to do.
No, you can't. So you do whatever you've got to do with your kids, and that's huge and demanding and full on. For me, I've always been a very physical person. Way back when I danced as a young person, I think that's always made me need that in my life. So for me, I've always either done dance classes or go to the gym or do the classes at the gym or go running, and now I'm doing yoga. I've always had something, and that's vital for me, and I'm not prepared to give that up at any cost.
Yes.
And all my family know that, so they give me that, thank God. And as soon as my kids were big enough to go to the creche at the gym, I was back in the gym doing my class, doing that, and that gives me instant sanity. I find it incredibly grounding. I get rid of that energy, that madness, exactly, burn it off somehow, feel calm, feel good about myself, which I think is really important for us actors. So that is precious to me, and I've always done it, and I will continue to do it because I know it works for me.
Yes.
And I like to do it in the morning, so therefore I've got it done, and then I can start my day and I feel like I've done something very positive.
Brilliant. Yeah.
So for me, that's vital. Then I need to see stuff. I need to go to the theatre. Again, that's something I make a priority and always have. And obviously when you've got kids, it's hard to get bloody anywhere. But I would try and make that work, see film, see theatre. For me, it's really important. It's really nourishing as a performer to go to the theatre and see stuff.
And it doesn't demand anything of you. All it is it's nurturing. And even if you don't love the play, whenever I've gone to a theatre, I've never regretted it.
I've
never gone, well, that was a waste of time. I mean, maybe there was a couple, but, generally.
But even if they're really, really bad, there's still something, and it still provokes a great dialogue.
Scream at the interval.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But even even if it gets you angry, it's no bad thing.
Yeah.
And if you're a creative person, you're also looking at why is it bad and what they've done wrong, and God, I wouldn't do that. And
sometimes you go, well, if they can do that and sell tickets and it's awful, what am I doing? How can I push myself forward?
Exactly. And there must therefore be room for us all. If this is getting up there, then why can't I?
Who gave this the green light? Yeah. And how important is your network and people who you spend your time with being for you? Because I know that you always have, whenever you're doing something, you always have such a great circle of support. I always get that sense that people are in your corner, but you're in their corner, you're in my corner, you're in, so many people. So how important is that being for you?
Oh God, it's so important, Nicky. I do. I have a very strong network of people who I love and need, and so I support them, and hopefully they support me. I've got a big friendship circle that comes kind of from my school life. I've lived in London all my life. I've never moved away, apart from my little stints off to Los Angeles, but I've always been here. So I've got a big network of people just from being born and bred in London.
Yeah.
And that's phenomenal. I've also got 4 brothers and sisters, so that expands your amount of people. You've already filled the table, exactly. And all the people that come with the family, that's and we are all very supportive of each other, and a lot of those friends are made up of school friends, but also of acting friends that I've taken along the way, I go to their plays, they come to my plays. I have a lovely group of people who come to everything I do. And that's vital, because when you're not working and times are hard, you've got a good, strong body of people that you can dip in and out of and see and be inspired by as well.
And the assurance of it doesn't mean that you're any less of a person. It's just a quiet time.
It's just a quiet time.
You don't need to go down that, I don't know, self-destruct or whatever it is, or just sitting under a duvet watching TV, that you can pull yourself out of. Exactly. And friends are very, very good for that. I remember the beginning of this, I know it's only February now, but I've been very busy recently, which has been incredible. And then I got this funny quiet patch. I don't know why it's not unusual. It's what we all have all the time. Yeah. And I just wasn't coping very well with it. And all my friends were on the phone going, Indra, come on. Be here before.
Come on. And my stepmom, who lives in Trinidad, phoned me up the other day, and she said, enjoy the downtime. Enjoy the downtime. You've got to enjoy the downtime. And I was like, that's just bloody genius. Of course it is. Sonny, you're not busy and you're not running around London. You've got time, you've got space, and enjoy that. And that became so real for me. Mm. And you kind of go, all that stuff that you're meant to do and catch up on, you kind of go, okay, I can do that now. And I can do it in a really nice, calm way. I can be supportive to my kids who are doing GCSEs and A levels right now. Yeah. And I can do that. And I can give a bit there, and I can do that. And I can go and see a matinee, and you kind of go, oh, okay. And I can go and see what other friends are doing.
Yeah.
And
top yourself up.
Yeah. It's really interesting. And actually last year I was away, a friend had a birthday, and they did a lovely weekend in the countryside. And I remember very late at night talking to this wonderful woman, and she was saying, but, she said, we're also obsessive about getting the job. And as soon as we finish the one job, we want the next job. And she said to me, but as an artist, you have to have the time out as well. Otherwise, you're kind of on a treadmill and you get into overload. And how are you going to make new decisions and be fresh and bring something? And she said the time out is as important. And it's interesting, they used to call it resting.
Yes.
And actors used to rest, and it wasn't looked down upon.
Because it's exhausting. It's
so full on and so demanding of everything. And then you don't see anybody, and you don't see any friends. You barely see your family. So it takes you completely away. So the idea that it used to once come a time be called resting, and you would rest and you would, refill and I think, God, I don't know why that got changed. We obviously live in a faster time now.
Yes.
And we put higher demands on ourselves.
And that thing of like you're working or you're not, you're valid or you're not. And actually you have to maintain that sense of I'm always valid.
Yes. I'm always valid. And if you think the writer has to go off and spend months writing. A director will disappear and think about what he knows. Everyone's given that time, and I think we have to take it.
Yes.
And really learn how to take it, and then fill it with other things that give you joy, whether, like I say, it's doing a dance class. So I've got friends now who choirs have become a big thing. I know of my friends who are doing lovely singing stuff and fill the time with that and meeting new people and going to art galleries and just being part of the world.
Yes. Oh, that's so key.
Just being part of it and living it and, and observing life and taking it in, which will then fill back into your next jobs.
Of course. And when you think about the number of years that you've been in the industry, what has kept you going throughout that? What's kept fueling you going, right, I'm going to just keep going, even if it's tough, because sometimes across your career, and most people on the whole have that moment of like, do I still want to do this? Does it light me up? Whether or not it's a serious thing, you can kind of play with that idea of, I wonder what it would be like to do something else.
I've definitely had those moments, very seriously had those moments and thought about giving up. The most, I had a real... that really hit me probably 7 or 8 years ago. I felt really down on it. I felt like I wasn't getting the parts. I wasn't being seen for the... I just hit a really tricky period, and it didn't feel like it was working for me. And I got very low about it. And I thought, what can I do? And I thought, I can teach. And so I pursued that. I had a very good friend of mine, writer-director, who's always taught. He's always taught. He's a very, very busy writer-director, but he's always taught and made that a priority, and that's always fascinated me.
Yes.
So I approached him one day and I said, can I come and watch you with the potential of coming to assist you? And I did. And then he got a job and he went off and he gave me his class. So he said, okay, you've been watching it for so many weeks. I've now got to go off to New York to direct something. It's yours. Here you go.
And I bet that was way more nerve-wracking. It was going, hi Tom Cruise, hi Brad Pitt. It's like, oh God, these kids might judge me.
Oh, absolutely. It was the scariest thing. And suddenly you kind of gone, I want to do that. And suddenly it was being offered. It was suddenly someone went, yeah, here you are. You want to do it? Here you are. I was like, oh my God, am I actually equipped to teach this thing that I do?
Yeah.
And I do kind of instinctively, in a sense now, my training was so long ago.
Yes.
So having to rethink that and thinking, God, how do I pass this on? And it was the best thing I ever did. I bloody loved it. I found the kids a total inspiration. I started reading all these fantastic books about teaching and reading from great teachers. And I really loved it. And and the school that I teach at, WAC Arts, is a fantastic performing arts school. Everybody there is a professional teacher. They're working in their profession. Yes. So the singers are singers, the drum teachers are drum. We're all doing what we do professionally. Yes. The school knows that, so it has a system where everybody can cover each other's classes, and I'm still doing it now. So whenever I'm not acting, I'm on the phone to them saying, I've got 3 months, or I've got until the next job. I don't know how long it's going to be. Please, can you give me employment? And they do. And I find it so rewarding. So rewarding. I think it's such a fantastic thing. It makes me feel good because I'm handing over something to the kids. The kids are feeling good because they're gaining something. We have a lot of fun in the room, and it teaches me about acting again. And I find they're an inspiration. I'm having to think about it, pull it all apart in order to hand it to them. So I'm thinking about my profession, what I do, and giving back is such a fantastic thing to do. It makes you feel so good.
Yes.
So I've found that teaching is a brilliant thing to have alongside my profession. Unfortunately, I work in a place where I can juggle it.
And for them to know that what they're learning is coming from a fresh place. It's not like, I remember back in 1954. And I'm not saying that is not valid information, but sometimes it's not relatable to the person who is hearing it, and it's really
and they love the fact that they then go, oh, I missed you on telly last night, or they're seeing you. Oh my God, Miss, you did that. And I was in The Curious Incident of the Dog in the West End. And I was teaching them
My dad still talks about it.
Does he?
It was fantastic. I love the play. It was
Didn't he come twice?
Yeah.
They did, didn't he?
He was like, I'm going to bring the whole family. I was like, wow, all right, Dad. So funny.
So funny.
And he now talks about it like he wrote it.
Does he?
I mean, firstly, I wrote the book. Really, Dad. Yeah. But that was great for you doing all those different roles, wasn't it?
That was fantastic, doing all those different roles. But I continued to teach in the daytime after rehearsal. I mean, once we were coming, because it was a year's contract, I said to WAC, I can still teach. So I was teaching these kids and then rushing off to the theatre. So the energy that they were getting in the room, and I was, coming straight from the stage to them, then back on the stage. Yes. So classes were fabulous. They were so excited. And then I took them all. I got incredibly reduced tickets, got them all in for $5, and they all came and watched it and couldn't believe it. And then they all came on stage and came backstage and met all the actors and all that. So it was just phenomenal. It was phenomenal. And they were, it was electrifying for them. And very, very tangible.
For years.
Oh, for years.
They're still talking about it.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
Yeah, they are. In fact, I've met a couple of them in the street. They've since left school and everything, and they're still excited about it and utterly inspired. And it really gave them a sense of that they can do this too, and that they can be on the stage. And it starts in the classroom, but they can get there.
Because they may not be getting that information in any other situation.
No.
I'm not going to go too political, but arts funding and all of that sort of stuff, it's not as readily available.
No, it isn't. Brilliant. Our schools are suffering.
I've got one last question for you.
Yes.
Where would you like to be in 5 years' time?
That's a good question, Nicky. Where would I like to be in 5 years' time? I'm feeling now that I'm getting to a lovely stage in my career when I'm feeling like a proper jobbing actress, which is a very nice thing to do, where I'm doing both lovely theatre and nice telly. I would love for that to continue in the way that it has, and for that work to be continuous as much as it can be. We can't work all the time, but because we're resting and we need to rest. But to feel like, the thing about being an actor, which is so hard, is when we don't feel like we're part of the system, that we're part of it, and we feel isolated on our own. And that's really terrifying and lonely and frightening as an actor. And it feels so nice when you feel like you're part of that community and you're a go-to, who they will go to.
Yes.
I don't want to speak too soon, because you never know when it's going to change. But that's what I dream and hope for, being a solid member of that community, and really part of it, and known and trusted for one's work. So you just get the calls, and they come, you get the call, you do the job, you smash it, and then you have time for your home and your rest of your life. That's where I'd really ideally like to be. We still talk about going to LA once the kids in uni and all that. So that's a possibility as well. But I still have, and I love LA and would like to do that. But it's very nice to do it in your own home as well. I think we all feel that, you want to break it in your own city. So I would just like it to really continue and be really a close part of our network.
Watch this space. This is so lovely. I love chatting. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Nikki.
And the new things that are coming out, I will share all the links as and when they can be revealed and when they go live. But, thank you. Thank you for all you do.
Thank you, Nikki. Cheers.
Thanks so much for listening to today's episode. If you haven't already, feel free to rate, review, and subscribe for all the brand new episodes. If you want to go deeper with my support, check out my freebies house and unlock the rooms you choose. nickyraby.com/freebies house. I also have workshops, programs, and one-on-one bespoke offerings. For prices, availability, or just to have a chat with me, go to nickyraby.com. Thank you, as always, for spending some time with me and my guests, and I'll see you next time.